Hello, I'm Joan Moossy with INN World Report. Joining me in the studio today is my guest, criminal defense attorney Lynne Stewart. Welcome, Lynne.
Hi, Joan. Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming. Now, trying to understand the case that you're involved in now, where you are the defendant. You've been charged with several very serious offenses. Can you run over the charges?
The charges themselves break down into three categories. The first is I'm charged with conspiring and actually materially aiding a terrorist organization. And that organization is an organization that my client belonged to in Egypt. He was a founder of.
This is the Sheikh.
This is the Sheikh, yes, Sheikh Omar, who had been convicted actually of a conspiracy to commit sedition by virtue of bombings.
And he's currently serving a life sentence.
He's serving life plus, I think, about 65 years. He's definitely not in a position where he would ever get out of a U.S. jail by force of law, by action of law. And so the first count is based upon, in the main part, a press release that I made on his behalf in the year 2000.
So your legal troubles begin with your post-conviction representation of the Sheikh.
Yes, that is what the charges are.
So now what is the action that you did that caused the government to bring these charges against you?
Well, ostensibly, it all stems, the entire case, you can say, is placed in the prison in Rochester, Minnesota, where he was being held. It was a medical prison. And he, in late '97, had been placed under extraordinary restrictions. These are measures called SAMs, Special Administrative Measures. They are rules that are promulgated by the Attorney General through the Bureau of Prisons. And they're basically prison rules. They're not a judge authorized, they're not legislation. They're prison rules, and they're placed on persons they wish to silence, to whatever degree they wish to keep them silent. It was clear to us that the Sheikh posed no threat in the usual criminal sense. The threat he posed is that he had a politic and he had a political message he wished to deliver. They, of course, have substituted the words that I used, he had a politic and political, for terror and terrorist. And with that, they accused me based on a press release that I made. When I said he was silenced, I mean he was to have no communication. I believe the U.S. Attorney in his opening statement said, "We locked him up and we threw away the key." But you know, Mr. U.S. Attorney, you can't do that under our legal system. We don't throw away the key to anyone.
Basically, you've been accused of violating a prison regulation.
They claim that by violating the regulation, I then aided the terrorist organization.
By violating it, you signed an agreement that you'd abide by it. Is this correct?
Right.
And then they say that you violated
it. That's a different charge. That's
right.
The lying to the government portion of the charges.
So that's another one of the
three charges. The third charge is defrauding the United States government. And people invariably say, what, it has money to do? No, it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the fact that they claim that when we were on our visits and we noticed the guards listening to us, Ashcroft said she then tried to distract the guards. Well, my rejoinder has always been they weren't supposed to be listening in the first place. I was protecting what I thought was a sacred, confidential attorney-client communication. And when I see guards listening in, as I have done for 30 years, I alert my client. I also do things to stop the guards from listening in without having them terminate our visit for whatever reason. Little did we know, however, that the government was taping everything we were doing anyway.
Ashcroft,
yes.
Why is he so personally involved in your case?
I personally think that in April of 2000, this is 6 months after 9/11, They had gotten all this legislation, which gave them virtually unfettered power. They had the Patriot Act, they had the Homeland Security, they had everything. And what did they have to show for it? Nothing, virtually nothing. They had John Walker Lind, who had been arrested in Afghanistan. They had Moussaoui, and that was it. So he needed something to rev up this engine once again, that we are all to be afraid of terrorism. There are terrorists on every street corner. Just look around you. So this case had just been lying there since 2000. It wasn't even a case, but I think they focused on it and said, we can get some mileage out of this.
You're not being tried alone.
Right.
You have two co-defendants.
Yes, the one I haven't, one was our interpreter. If I'm 100% innocent, he's 200% innocent. He basically was a graduate student who signed on after much cajoling because he was so excellent at what he did, and remained the Sheikh's interpreter, never did anything that he wasn't asked to do.
And
his name is Muhammad Yusri. He has suffered a great deal through this. He lost his job almost immediately and has not been able to work as a teacher since then.